Joining us to talk about Snapchat and some Twitter news is Kurt Wagner from Recode. Welcome back, Kurt.
Hey, Megan. How you doing?
I'm good. Did you have a good vacation?
I had a great vacation. I was in Peru. Hard to have a bad time down in Peru.
So I hear. So why are investors throwing money at Snapchat? Is it the selfie filters?
Actually, believe it or not, it might be partly because of the selfie filters. I think that we've seen a lot come out about Snapchat recently. I think today it was TechCrunch that got their hands on a pitch deck that Snapchat was bringing around to investors that showed that their business was growing pretty substantially. We had reported that earlier, that this year they were aiming for between 300 and 350 million in revenue, which was about 6 or 7 times what they did in 2015, so a pretty substantial jump. And what the pitch deck showed was that they plan to be between $500 and $1 billion in revenue next year. So the business is growing. They have a lot of young users. They have selfie filters and other things that young people want to mess around with. And so I think that combination makes it very attractive to people who are looking for a place to put their money.
How about you, Lauren? What do you think is Snapchat's magic?
Well, the teens, clearly. I think that anybody would say if they have even remotely been familiar with Snapchat is that they're capitalizing on the fact that they have young blood using their system and that they're trendy and people love them. And I mean, I think that Snapchat has done a really great job marketing to teenagers and to bring influencers on the platform. The only thing I'm really interested in is how they're going to get to that from that 59 million number to that billion number.
Right, that's a big jump.
Especially when it seems like really the only place where they're making a lot of money is filters.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Kurt? I mean, I think also about the teens, because I think teens have a different outlook on advertising. I mean, the filters are clearly branded. I mean, and the teenagers that I know don't care. They don't care if they can make their face into a taco. They don't care that it says Taco Bell on it. What do you think about that?
I think that's true. I think we're also overlooking actually the two biggest parts of their business are live stories and Snapchat Discover. So let's talk Discover real quick. They have a section of the app with, I believe, like 20 publishers right now, ESPN and CNN and Vice and others who are creating content for Snapchat every single day, brand new content that disappears after 24 hours, and they're selling ads alongside that content. And so that's a pretty, I believe, healthy revenue stream at the moment. But I think more importantly for them is they're making a bunch of money around what are essentially live events. They're called live stories. And so, for example, for the Super Bowl, they'll take a collection of videos and photos that their users take and submit to the app. They'll compile this into a big collage of, Super Bowl related snaps, if you will, and then they'll sell ad space to Budweiser alongside it, and that ad space is not cheap. And so I think you can imagine they're doing that for the Oscars and Super Bowl and Coachella and all these different events, and especially events where young people are hanging out. And so they're making money in a lot of ways besides just these fun filters. And I don't know if they're actually going to get to $1 billion next year, but the fact that they think they might, I think, gives a lot of people who, again, are investing in them a lot of confidence.
Would you say that Snapchat is kind of following a similar trajectory as Facebook in its kind of early days as it began to really kind of take off? I get the same feeling out of Snapchat as I did, then with Facebook right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Snapchat's business model aligns much more with like the entertainment industry and television than it necessarily does with maybe what we've seen from a Facebook or Twitter. And what I mean by that is, Facebook really, I guess they were putting like banner ads in Facebook and things, but like Facebook and Twitter have built a huge business off of a promoted post, right? So you post something on Twitter, you want to amplify that to more people, so you pay to kind of push that tweet out. And same thing with Facebook, same thing with Pinterest. Snapchat doesn't really have that right now. They're essentially going this old school media and entertainment route where they're saying, hey, movie studios, you have a trailer for a new video that you want to show. We have an audience that wants to watch cool videos. Like, let's just marry those two things together. They're not really, taking a promoted Snap kind of approach. So I think there are some differences, but I think the feeling generally of like, hey, let's kind of like this slow ramp up of the business, I'm sure there are a lot of similarities between what Snapchat's doing now and what a Facebook or a Twitter or someone else did, at the same stage in their life cycle.
How much do you think the difference is that Snapchat's in LA versus Silicon Valley?
I think it's huge. I think their CEO, Evan Spiegel, just loves A, to be different than Silicon Valley, and B, he grew up in the LA area. I think he views himself as a designer and as an artist and as someone who can kind of relate much more with the entertainment industry than he probably can with the stuffy suits of Madison Avenue, who are maybe doing marketing and advertising in that way. And so I think that that has a lot to do with the company's identity. And as a result, I think, there's no surprise. It's not a coincidence, I should say, that I think the very first advertiser from Snapchat, which was now about a year and a half ago, was one of the big movie studios, and those are the partners that they continue to work with, and the NFL and people who have great content and great entertainment to share. Those are the people they want to work with.
And so a lot of people criticize Twitter for being confusing to the average people. I find that Snapchat is sort of confusing. Is that a general complaint, or is it really just that the people they want do not find it confusing?
I think that's valid. I think that's really valid. I'm not really sure if the Snapchat product translates super cleanly to a demographic outside of high school, college, maybe fresh out of college. I don't necessarily want to say that's by design, but I kind of do believe it's by design a little bit. I think there's this feeling of, again, all of this stems from CEO Evan Spiegel, but I think there's a feeling from him that's kind of like, if you can't figure out how to use the product, then go ahead and move along. I'm not going to sit here and kind of hold your hand through how to use Snapchat. I think that it's important that they do take that approach, and I think eventually, as they start to saturate the young teens and the young people who are on the product, and they say, okay, now we need to move to an older demographic to keep our user base growing. It'll probably be more important for them to kind of like simplify things and maybe even teach people how to use it. But at this point, it doesn't feel like a top priority for sure.